Pretend we're streaming. It's fine.
Shut up! God damn it! At least we're getting some good cold open reel. Let me take an actual in-breath without giggling, okay?
Sorry.
Hello, welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite harem protagonist.
Spring anime season is now well underway. Between us, we've tried almost every show we said we were going to try in the live stream. A couple, Magical Sisters, Luluto Lily, and Do You Like Big Girls, still don't appear to have any localization whatsoever, so we haven't touched them. But that still leaves us with 36 shows to at least mention, or less than 2 minutes per show if we want this episode to run to time. So, here goes, starting with Ramparts of Ice, which is what if the You and I Are Polar Opposites author wanted to hurt us instead of just make us happy?
Mm-hmm. And it's doing a pretty good job of that, and there's a lot of tension involved that I can't say isn't there in Polar Opposites, but it's definitely sharper here.
Yeah. I think it's significant that Kocho Agasawa did the manga for this before Polar Opposites.
Mm-hmm. Kind of running in parallel for bits of it, but yeah.
They overlap. But there's a real sense of author identity here, and yet the tone is so different. And where we're up to at the moment, it really has some of that Kimi Todoke thing that we've struggled with for previous seasons, of like, characters aren't communicating well. In this case, it is because they genuinely haven't established trust yet, and it's resulting in misunderstandings that are comedic, but are also so stressful. Mm-hmm. Everybody's starting to have feelings for their respective characters, and also to think that other characters are moving in on their respective characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of jealousy going on.
Yeah, which is a perfect segue to even a replica can fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, the pitch for this, if you put it in a sentence, is kind of absurd in a way that suggests it's going to be comedic. It's like, there's a girl and she can summon a doppelganger to go to school for her on days when she doesn't want to go to school. And you think, oh, hijinks ensue. But actually, this is a portrait of a girl who is really, like, psychologically crumbling into, shut-in.
Apathy and depression.
Yeah, she is becoming a shut-in. And in a way that clearly and quite empathetically shows that is a pathology, not an individual choice. Like, as a younger child, she got into a fight with her best friend, and she didn't want to go and apologize, even though she knew she should, so that was what gave rise to this doppelganger. And since that moment, she has never kind of grown past that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now anytime she's got to do anything that she doesn't want to do, she sends her doppelganger. And her doppelganger is starting to be a person.
Well, starting. She's starting to get to be a person.
Yes. Yeah, I suppose, yes, that's a much better way of putting it. As Sunao gives now more time, now has more opportunities to establish relationships of her own, and then Sunao is becoming kind of violently jealous of how much Now is having a better time with her life than she is.
It's worth noting that, like, this does tap into, like, kind of an old story format of someone creates a robot or some sort of fake to replace them, but it turns out that they're better at everything than them, and they get extremely jealous. But to its credit, it's from the perspective of the, in this case, replica, instead of being a fable about how you shouldn't try and escape all of your problems. And it is going to be sympathetic to Sunao. I've read the first light novel of this, and I know where this is going a bit, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it plays out past that.
Yeah, like, I've been really impressed by it in terms of how it is dealing with the pain of the scenario. It just makes it a lot to sit down to and watch on a weekly basis. But it airs on the same day as Haibara's Teenage New Game Plus, which balances things out a bit. It's a time travel story. This guy is, never really recovered from a bad high school experience, and one day he wishes that he could go back and have it again, and the wish is somehow granted. Don't ask questions about that. And he gets to go back and do it all again with the lessons he's learned from 10 years of growing up. And this might be the heart of the season.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting you to take to it as much as you did, but it's definitely a really strong contender for like emotionally aware series that's going to have a lot of, teenage kind of drama in a way that doesn't make me cringe to watch. So,
well, it's when you pitched it to me, I assumed that there was going to be a cringe element because that's the going back to high school thing. What's the time travel going back to go through college again?
Remake Our Life
thing that we watched. Remake Our Life, yeah. I didn't entirely get on with that one. This is similar in some ways, but much sweeter, obviously pitched at a younger kind of cast. And it's very sweet. Hoshimiya, the primary love interest, is very reminiscent of Sheena from Angel Next Door, I think.
A little bit, yeah. Visually, at least.
And she's very good at including Natsuki, the protagonist, in the group. But we get this, it's not completely lighthearted. We get the perils of success. We get, in his first go through, Natsuki had this friend, Tatsuya, who was the last person to still be giving him a chance to not be a nerd and a shut-in. And in this, he's friends with Tatsuya again, but he's outshining Tatsuya, and Tatsuya's starting to get jealous. Partly because Tatsu's love interest has fallen for Natsuki in a way that definitely is going to explode in the next few episodes. I kind of really want them to try dating and it not work out.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, I think that's more the realm of Remake Our Life.
I also don't.
But we didn't get to that point in the anime adaptation.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, like, this was making me think about Wateri's Blank is About to Collapse again.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is one of the few shows where I've seen, like, the principal boy dates a girl who is not the girl at the end of the show in a serious way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would fit here. I agree with you. I'm not sure they're going to do it. But it looks like it's going to turn into a band anime because apparently he's a great singer too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a girl floating around the cast who's a guitarist, and I'm dead.
Yep.
Like, we know what happens when they turn into band animes. I'm dead. We'll get there.
We might not get there in the anime, but having looked at the light novels, which are available in English, yeah, it's going there eventually.
Oh boy! I mean, there's enough band stuff in like the OP and ED.
Yeah, it's not hiding it.
Anyway, I do want to talk about Petals of Reincarnation. We watched one episode of this together, right? And then you dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it felt like your take on this was, I've seen Fate. This is kind of knockoff Fate.
I mean, I don't have a problem with knockoff Fate. My main problem was just like it seemed a real edgy. Like the main character is just kind of an edgelord, and I don't know that I have the energy to keep up with that week to week.
Yeah, that's fair. He is definitely an edgelord. More on that in a second. It does have a very strong Fate influence. Like, it's about bringing back historical figures to fight magical battles against other historical figures who are evil.
Though the battle lines on those are a little sketchy, I think I've heard.
Yeah! So, this is why I want to talk about it, because I might not keep watching this, depending where it goes on this. Because, one, the show operates with a hardline Manichaean moral schema, like a good versus evil. Some of the returners, these like famous people from the past, are great. They're the good guys, and they're the agency that takes Toya, the main character, in. And some of them are sinners. And most of the sinners we've met so far have been like famous serial killers. Ed Gein was in there, for example. And I believe their eventual overlord is going to be Hitler. Like
classics of overlords, I guess.
Yeah. Like, when I was prepping the notes for this, I saw a character list. Hitler was on the character list. He was not on the cast list. That would be really worrying.
I don't know with AI these days.
Don't even fucking joke. But the reason that I'm sus on this, we've got this hardline sorting of real historical figures into good and evil. And the ghost that has kind of partnered with Toya, the returner that's partnered with Toya, is Goemon, who is this Japanese folk hero from the 16th century, whose kind of role in Japanese folklore is quite like Robin Hood in English folklore, like robbed from the rich, gave to the poor, fought corrupt officials, that sort of thing. But because Goemon's central power is thievery, he's classified as a sinner. And this suits Toya just fine, because the way the power works is it enables him to steal other returners' talents, their skills. And he's setting out to do I've forgotten the name of that anime again. The skill harvesting thing. Like the slime in Reborn as Dragon's Egg, and also
that time I got
Loner Life?
Yeah, Loner Life in Another World.
Yeah. Toya outright is setting out to do that. And the best scenes in the show so far have been him flirting with the female lead about how when they both get powerful enough, he's going to try to steal her talent, which she is super down for him to try.
Because she's a battle junkie?
Yeah, and that's really good. But the Goemon thing matters because one of the established greats is a guy called Funasaka, whose title is something like the Immortal Soldier. And I'm still not 100% sure I've ID'd who this guy is. Like, every historical figure is a real historical figure, and it's a wild assortment. Einstein's there, Newton's there, Bobby Fischer, the chess grandmaster, is there. But I think this guy Funasaka was a supporter of Yukio Mishima, who's a Japanese author of the post-World War II period, a far-right Japanese nationalist who is famous for attempting a coup in 1970 to kind of instate military leadership in Japan and overturn Article 9 of the Constitution, which is the one that prohibits Japan having a true army. And then Mishima committed seppuku. And if I've got the right Funasaka, this is the guy who provided the sword that Mishima's second used to cut off his head. And it's a choice to put that guy as a great in the same company as, like, Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
Also, the Wright brothers are in it, but they're twin girls.
Also very Fate.
John von Neumann's in it, but is a disabled girl in a wheelchair who's, like, their kind of commander. It's weird. And where I'm up to so far, they are already kind of doing a climactic assault against the villain's fortress. Which is weird for episode 3.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think what that tells us is that they're probably going to end up breaking that moral schema to some degree. And the actual villain will be someone else that we have to refigure our morality around to some degree. I might still ditch the show, depending like what happens with Hitler and Funasaka and so on. But I'll be a little bit sad too, because I think it is a great looking show in terms of its art style.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now we have a block of shows which are like the core of our identity as shared anime watchers, right?
Which is to say, this is the identity you have borrowed from me. Because this is my bullshit.
I mean, I'm also fully on board with it at this point. This is shows where there is a nerdy guy and a pretty girl takes an interest in him. Which for this season includes I Made Friends with the Second Prettiest Girl in My Class, Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku, the Klutzy Class Monitor and the Girl with the Short Skirt, Mistress Kanan is Devilishly Easy, and arguably an observation log of my fiancée who calls herself a villainess, which is kind of that, but also a villainess anime, and, you know, I had to watch it because of
Villainous
that.
Isekai.
Yes, Villainous Isekai. I am having a little bit of trouble keeping these shows separate in my head, particularly the first two, Second Prettiest Girl and Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku, because they are so similar.
They're not, but I have no confusion between these two because they are very different vibes and characters. So I don't know what particular thing is hanging you up, but
I think it is, like, in both cases, the pretty girl, the principal pretty girl, takes an interest in the nerd because of, like, specific media consumption things. So, Otagal, it's Takia, the boy, is really into this magical girl show, and Kei, the gal who is kind to Otaku, is super into the show but keeps trying to pretend it's her little sister and she's just doing things for her little sister. Whereas in Second Prettiest Girl, Umi is not tsundere about it. She's pretty forward and she's pretty enthusiastic because she's just thrilled to find someone else who's really into B movies and likes Sharknado type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels very similar to me.
See, the deciding factor for me that means this was never an issue is Second Prettiest Girl has an element of like, we have to keep this on the down low. Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku is just like, no, these two people just hang out and talk in class. There's no actual animosity or worry about like what people think of them, which is something that scans for me recognizing and you not.
Yeah, I guess so. I think also, like, Maki in Second Prettiest Girl is a bit more passive than Takuya in Otagal because he's not dealing with a tsundere, and Takuya, to his credit, has really read Kei about her interest in this show and is constantly coming up with ways to draw her out on it.
Yeah, the whole thing is like the way they're approaching him trying to prod her about her fandom is similar to the way that one would prod someone about their romantic feelings, in that he doesn't want to push too hard lest he ruin the relationship they have. But he does want to know, so he's trying to catch her out on it.
Well, there's also the vibe a little bit there that he wants her to feel free to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he recognizes that her shame around it is hurting her, especially because the other gal in their class, Kotoko, is fully just all in on it and embracing it. And I think they have quite similar casts of, like, the popular girl's friends, right?
Except one of them is going to end up in a weird triad situation it keeps feeling like, which is the Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku, and the other is there's no other actual heroine in Second Prettiest Girl.
Yeah, that's true. We do have to note that the other major difference, and the reason that Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku is the rare true Becky W, is that because this one is about loving magical girl shows, this caught my other girlfriend, Tara, in the splash damage.
Which was especially funny because it wasn't planned that we were going to watch it together at all. She just happened to get caught by us watching it because we had some spare time after our group date.
Yes.
So
now she is suffering, which is delicious.
It's really funny, and she's going to be so mad when she hears this.
Yep. Like I said, a Becky W.
Mm-hmm.
In the Klutzy class monitor and the girl with the short skirt, the dynamic is a bit different because Togo is like a strict student council member for discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So he has this feud with the girl whose name is Poem. Poor creature. And the thing this does really well is that because he is so much a stickler for the rules, whenever they're in like a public context, they're feuding really sparkily. But the moment they're away from that and they're just hanging out alone together, it's really kind and really sweet. And for all the chaos, they clearly just get on really well.
Yep. Pretty much from the outset, even despite their feud.
Yes. But because he's on the student council, we get a bunch of other student council members. And they sure are some student council members. So the student council member with responsibility for like health is a former delinquent who goes around in a lab coat that's kind of decked out to look like a delinquent's long coat. And the library guy, when he's in the library, is an absolute prince who all the girls in school are in love with. But outside of the library, literally as he crosses the threshold, he reverts to like super bookish super nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point where Togo and Izubuchi, the medical guy, are kind of contesting over who is going to be the one to take her to
Poem to the infirmary.
Yeah, to take Poem to the nurse's office. She does come out with the line, "Oh no, they're so stupid I can kind of feel it while passing out."
That's how the first episode ended.
Yeah, it's so good. This is what we feed on. This is how we make it through our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of stupid enough that you could feel it while passing out, there is Mistress Kanan is devilishly easy.
Or the original translation of the Japanese title, Mistress Kanan is easy as hell. Which I still think is better, way better.
It's so good. I mean, Devilishly Easy is pretty good, but Easy as Hell is right up there.
Yep.
The idea is she's a succubus. She comes up to Earth to feed on humans. She picks this schoolboy. She takes up the role of being on the discipline committee at the school, summons this boy that she's picked to the discipline committee room, and starts telling him about how she's going to eat him. And he thinks she's talking about sex and dominating him, and he's a huge masochist, so he's fully on board. And this is somehow enough. His being a dork results in her falling deeply and madly in love with her.
Yeah, it's something. The opening sequence of this show is a lot. Yeah.
Rarely has so powerful a girl been so cooked so quickly. And that was even...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and it's even funnier knowing that Kanan is voiced by the voice actress who does Kaguya in Love is War, because it's just immediately 2-frame loss. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. And she has a maid who shows up in the second episode and just lives for the drama.
I mean, she lives for a whole lot of sex, but also the drama.
She's living a good life. Ami is living a good life, and I'm happy for her. And every time she pops up in the corner of a shot to turn the crank on Kanan, being unwilling to admit her feelings for Yoji is so good.
I need to specify that it's Ami, because Ami is in our polygon. And the way you pronounce Ami is just a little too close. Ami is also living a good life. But
yes. And probably the less we say beyond that point, the better. But I feel like Ami in our polycule and Ami in the show would get on pretty well.
Probably.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall if that happened.
We also have a maid who is not in our polycule. Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Everyone wants the answer to the question. Even you want the answer to the question.
No, I know the answer, and it's dumb.
Well, that's why the rest of us want it.
Yeah, no, you're not getting it.
Have you seen our brand?
Yes, I have. I've made our brand. I'm the branding.
Pretty much, yes. Anyway, we have a Villainess show, because, again, this weird niche genre has just become a constant fixture now.
And you're apparently here for it like I'm here for Isekai, which I don't know how to feel about.
I mean, part of it is that there is a goodly chunk of me that knows that I am, a Bertia.
Yeah? You're really trying to be a villainess, but you keep dashing yourself against me.
I know, okay? And, it's the representation.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like these shows are getting progressively less hinged. Season before last, we had Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, which was very, very self-aware and was about this girl having to relive her cringe teenage self-insert story. And here we have a girl who is transported into her favourite dating game as the villainess and is desperate to ensure that Cecil, the prince, gets to be with the heroine of the dating game because she thinks that's what will make him most happy and that's what she cares about. But the heroine, who is clearly also an isekai, so we have some PvP stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Which is what I wanted out of the Villainess show from last season.
Villainess is adored by the... Yes.
Yeah.
Which just didn't have the juice.
Yeah.
There were two scenes that had anything resembling juice in that show. This show is all juice.
Yep, very juicy. Also, I have to note, you've written down the light novel finished in 2017. That is slightly correct. There was a sequel series in 2022 that is an observation log of my wife who calls herself the Villainess.
Oh, good. I'm very glad to hear it. But yeah, so the total light novel for this is only 2 volumes, so I assume we're going to get it all.
And maybe a season 2.
Maybe, hopefully. I'd be happy to watch another one.
Mm-hmm.
But like the thing that really brings the juice with this show is that Bertia really wants to be a villainess and to like scheme and do all the things that the villainess of the game does to keep it on track, to keep the world she's in on track with the game script. But the actual villain characters are Cecil, the villainess's fiancé, the prince, and introduced in the most recent episode, his like second cousin Joanna, and they are menaces.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible. It's great.
And also, all of them adore Bertia, and we're just like, let's keep her out of trouble, shall we?
Yeah. Oh, she'll probably grow out of it at some point.
She won't.
But...
There's a sequel series. She won't.
She'll grow out of it enough to marry him,
and then continue to be a villainess enough to have that be the title of the series.
She's got to realize that that's what he likes about her.
And I guess I will say this on the podcast, though I said it to you when we were watching the latest episode of this. The way that the council of like villainous nobles or whatever act, they're just fine with her calling them her minions, is much like my partners will accept me calling them my harem because it's funny and cute and they like me like that.
Yeah, pretty much true. I mean, we had to work at you pretty hard to get you to start calling us your harem.
I made it as a joke. I made it as a joke once, and then you would not let the joke die. There is a difference.
Well, I am a retirement home for old jokes, so...
Yep, and I'm going to fill you with all my old jokes. Anyway,
let us enter Becky's sad girl bucket for this season, which runneth over.
It sure does.
So,
Jesus.
Start with Kirio Fanclub, which we did watch one episode of together, and you kind of bailed on pretty quickly, which I fully understand why. As I put it in the notes, this show has rat energy, brackets affectionate, brackets rancid. This show is for like people who like the Skaven from Warhammer, which is very me. The two principal girls, Aimi and Nami, are not okay and kind of gross. And if it was just that, I think I'd enjoy it as a sort of what if See You Tomorrow at the food court had kind of sat out in the sun too long and rotted. But actually, there are shades of something more going on here. Like, there's kind of continuity, something almost like a plot. And it does feel like you see one rat and you know that they're in your walls in numbers. Which really could turn this into something that would be quite special to me. Or not. Maybe it won't. Then there is Eren the Southpaw, which you didn't watch any of. That's just me. The titular Eren of this cast is a high school girl who is deeply passionate about art and deeply inarticulate in ways that lead to enormous self-loathing and lashing out. Like, she has multiple times attacked the protagonist of the show, Koichi, because his art wasn't good enough for her. They are not friends, they don't know each other, they just go to the same school. And she fully, like, tackled him to the ground and beat the crap out of him for his art being bad.
Lordy.
And we get some pretty good, like, storytelling to back that up. For an anime about art kids, there have been 3 on-screen deaths or near deaths.
Jesus.
2 of which were, like, meant to play with the question of whether this is a suicide attempt.
Yeesh.
Like, it's fucking dark. And, you know, it is absurd, but it's the absurd used to do something very different to comedy. And then the most recent episode ended on a time skip jumping forward to show Koichi as an adult in, you know, all through the sections when he's a teenager in 1998, he's talking about how he's going to be a cool designer and take all his art talents and go into the design business and be like a celeb designer and stuff. And there's this time skip, and he is a peon in a big design studio being yelled at by a unsympathetic boss. Oh, it took my guts out. It was brutal.
Yeah, it sounds rough.
It's probably going to be very good, but I might need a cuddle, like, every week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even before we get to 100 Scenes of Awajima, which I was somewhat surprised to see that the manga for this has run for over a decade, has now finished. It is an ensemble story. It's lots of kind of, here are a couple of characters and how they interacted with this particular, like, fancy review school for opera, for aspiring female opera singers, opera performers. They're not all primarily singers. And I've only watched 2 episodes so far. It captures the ways in which private school is hell. Boarding private schools, even more so. A lot of the girls are in love with other girls in ways that bring them immense pain. This one has also featured a suicide attempt already, and also a lot of playing with kind of when events happen. So, like, there's the first episode, and late in the first episode, one of the characters gets a phone call that's quite important for her journey. And then we jump back in time, like 15 years, to get the story of the person on the other end of the phone call. And it's doing stuff like that, so it's quite hard to figure out what's going on a lot of the time. The girls are visually distinct, but it's not like they have different hair colours and different eye colours and stuff. They basically all have quote-unquote realistic, formal hairstyles, black hair, mostly kind of plaited or bob cut. You know, they all look quite similar. It's mesmerizing. I don't think I'm going to be able to look away. I may well wish that I could at times. And then there is Botan Kamiina Fully Blossoms When Drunk, which, when you pitched it to me, I was surprised that you didn't want to watch, because the pitch makes it sound like a slapstick comedy kind of deal, where, like, there's this girl and she gets really gay when she's drunk, and here's another girl who, like, meets her at college and they get drunk together. Had you, like, read
Nope.
the manga or anything?
I have just seen enough of Eve posting about it in our Discord that I was just like, okay, this is probably not a bell-shaped thing.
Fair enough.
It is unfortunately in precisely the spot where I know a lot of people around me are going to talk about it in the way that would set me off for this 2 or 3 years ago, because it reminds me so much of, like, oh, this is what everyone is going to talk about in my anime Twitter sphere, which we'll see if my brain can be all right with that nowadays.
Yeah. Part of the problem is that, like, the manga Eve posts about, which, by the way, join our Discord, we have fun there, kind of all blurs together for me, except for a couple. So I probably have seen the same posts and just not registered them so much. But I would have had fun with the comedy version of this pitch, probably, if it wasn't too creepy about, like, getting a girl drunk in order to sleep with her or whatever. But that is not the energy here. It is funny, but it is not a high-energy comedy. It's a very chill show. It's very kind of visually sedate and a little bit melancholy. And also, the dynamic is not Ibuki getting Botan drunk in order to seduce her. It is Botan learning about drinking, and whenever she gets drunk, she becomes really gay and starts hitting on the girls around her, who are also all gay to some degree or other, and are pretty much, like, flattered by it, at least. You know, it's in that way, it's much softer. And I'll be interested to see kind of how that goes from being a premise to a plot. Still very much in the establishing the premise stage. I do think it's a bit optimistic about how much money and resources students in Tokyo might have. They spent most of the most recent episode at a quite swanky alcohol shop, buying multiple bottles of expensive, like, premium sake. Anyway, we are now leaving the Becky Sad Girl bucket. For now. We will return. Some shows we want to go through more quickly. So we did watch the first episode of Go For It Nakamura-kun, and we suffered.
Yeah.
Like, not because the show is bad, to be clear. I don't even know if I can articulate why.
I mean, all I can really say is the fucking post I made that was diversity when gay rom-com can also make me cringe, because it genuinely just, like, I was here for it. You didn't realize it was BL until we started watching it.
Like, I listened back to the live stream and you literally say, "This is gay, by the way," and I I don't know, I didn't register it. I was too busy writing something down at the time or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But also, the character dynamic, just the worst possible social anxiety about what could have gone wrong in high school does not compare to how bad this guy is for me.
Yeah. In the first episode, Nakamura is in love with a boy in his class. Like, love at first sight, completely head over heels. And there's no indication in the first episode of whether or not that boy would be receptive to an advance. There's no pre-established friendship between them. And that does put it in fraught territory, right? Because, gay panic is a real... The rhetoric of gay panic is a real problem, right? Mm-hmm. And so many stories where a boy falls in love with another boy, the other boy is straight and is offended or threatened by this. The one thing we did enjoy was that there are a bunch of octopi in the first episode, and there are all sorts of hijinks involving the octopi, and that was great. Nakamura really likes octopi. Mm-hmm. He has one as a pet, which I'm quite jealous of. We only watched the one episode, and we could not bear to go back.
Like, halfway through the episode, I was just like, there are 2 episodes coming out at once today. Maybe we can come back to episode 2 another day. But by the end of the first episode, I was just like, no, I think we're good. Thank you.
Yeah. We have a few shows that are carrying on that are new seasons of shows that we've already watched. So, Ascendance of Bookworm, we only recently caught up on this one. Season 4 started. Mine, or as she is now Rosamine, is now the princess of the entire kingdom or whatever, and also just got made the high priest of the temple that she used to be in.
Yep.
Which that one caught us off guard a bit.
A little bit, but also the former high priest did do a bit of treason. So
he did. I mean, they did need to find a new high priest, but surely there were other candidates than the 10-year-old girl.
I mean, the 10-year-old girl who is the adopted daughter of the Archduke, which is the subtitle for this part of the story. So
the adopted daughter of the Archduke, and also one of the most powerful magic users that the church has. This is tempered much more by the sadness of she's had to leave her family behind. Her, in the isekai world, biological family and her friends from the poor district and stuff. The whole cover story is that she was placed at the temple as an orphan for her safety and has now been taken back into the family.
Yep.
It's basically the only way to keep her safe from the rest of the aristocracy. We're watching Season 2 of The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, which we've been looking forward to for a long time.
And it makes you squeak every week.
It makes me squeak so much. It's more of the same of the show, but they're even more married now. Like, at the end of Season 1, they start dating, and my god, they're so married.
And Mahiro is being a lot more expressive now, which is,
yes.
I think, equally a part of where their relationship is and the new production staff, because it's been, 3 years.
Yeah. And they're meeting his parents at the moment, which has been good fun, because his parents are a lot positive. Mm-hmm. Equally, you suggested yesterday, that probably means that most of the drama from this season is going to come from dealing with her parents, who are a lot negative. Mm-hmm. We will cross that bridge as we come to it.
Yep.
We're watching Season 4 of Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, because you can't not love Iruma and Clara and Az and the gang. Iruma is even friendlier now.
Yep. He's befriended a person named Person, Soy Person.
I can't believe his name is Soy Person. Like, they're like they're stealth demons or assassin demons or whatever, so they have this whole, like, power around being invisible and stuff, but they have to make him stand out, because their only way to pass the test that they have to pass is to do well at the music festival, and he's like the best trumpeter in school, so they're going to do a show built around his music.
Yep.
And the rest of their class are going to be idols, and Iruma has to learn piano, but when he touches the piano, it turns to candy.
Yep, because he's too sweet.
This show rules. It's
really good. I've mentioned this before. We're getting an anime version of the Mafia AU that this series has, because this show rules. Because the entire premise of that one is, well, what if they gave Iruma up to the Mafia instead of a demon? And he gets involved in the mob.
Oh my god, that's some Bugsy Malone shit.
It's gonna be really good.
Anyway, you started watching season 2 of Farming Life in Another World?
Yep, it's more of the same. I started watching it, and then I remembered how much the show is going to be, so I put it on hold. I have not actually watched a whole lot of this, but I did open up the My Anime List page, and one of the topics is trying to guess which of the characters is going to be pregnant next. So, last season he did get the vampire princess with child, so it's not like unheard of. The funniest bit of last season was
vampire.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Listen, the politics of all the different races are way weirder compared to standard fantasy. Like, all the angels are there, and, like, they're the brawn of the operation. Genuinely, just, like, the funniest part of season 1 was the vampire was not able to transform into her, like, small form because she has vampire powers, shape-shifting a bit, and she was kind of feeling out of it, and they brought a doctor, and... The doctor was like, well, I've seen someone with these symptoms before. And main character goes, well, how did you treat them? Or like, what happened to them? And doctor goes, well, we wish her congratulations on the pregnancy.
Fuck me running.
It's a show.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of It's a Show, let's move on to a different show. Marika's Love Meter Malfunction.
Look, so this is a short show, and because it's on Ocean Vale, they made it... So, on the live stream, you said it's not porny.
It's not porny, it's not horny. Like, genuinely, it is a lot of shenanigans and, like... rom-com bullshit.
In the manga.
Very rarely is... In the manga, yeah. Very rarely is there anything like ecchi content, because that's not the point of this ridiculous bullshit. Yes.
But because it's an Ocean Vale anime, there's bare titty in every episode.
Ocean Vale is the English streaming platform it's on. There's a specific anime studio that is producing a lot of the shorts.
Right, okay.
Making this one, so I don't know why they made it horny. I was thinking of Kodasashi, Hands Off Kodasashi-kun. They also made that hornier than it was, which is really funny.
Yeah. Anyway, the core premise here is really cute. It's like this guy gets the power to see other characters' affection levels towards him, and the girl he likes loves him so much that her meter is broken, so it looks like she hates him.
Mm-hmm.
Which really confuses him because she keeps acting really, like, affectionate to him. Good bit. Love it.
We may or may not, depending on how the adaptation goes, we may or may not see the shenanigans that the affection bars get up to, because genuinely so much bullshit happens with the different meters. Like, they're different for every girl, and they're all custom. Imagine if you were going to somebody getting a custom UI element for your stream that's themed to your fucking VTuber, like that sort of bullshit. I think I explained previously that during one segment in the manga, he is getting chased by a bunch of girls, and all of their like affection meters turn into like a battle royale UI. Like, it's so much.
Oh god. Anyway, speaking of titties. So, The Strongest Job is apparently not a hero but an appraiser, provisional. You watched the first episode of this, and then you made me watch the first episode of it with you.
Yes, because I needed someone else to witness the fucking insane comedic timing that this show has. Not necessarily insanely good, just insane.
Yeah. And, like, the strongest recurring joke in the first episode is he meets this elf lady shortly after being isekai'd, and she keeps bursting out of her top because, my god, her tits are big.
Yeah, she also has a maid who really loves her huge tits and normal.
Yeah. Tell me about Yowayowa Sensei.
So the premise is, kind of sketchy because it's kind of like main character is a high school student, and he is kind of gets attached to his teacher, who is has a reputation for being insanely scary and, like, cursing students, but really, she is just kind of slumping around being very meek and having a really bad time and not projecting her voice well at all. So he ends up finding this out and decides that he's going to try his best to help her. And despite basically wanting his life to go on being average, he basically bails her out when she's trying to select a class president, and he ends up in the position so that no one else has to get freaked out by the ordeal. And that's fine. It is a little horny, and that's not surprising. The problem is his sister, who is 29,
okay,
and keeps trying to baby him. This is episode 2 stuff. She keeps trying to baby him, and he's just like, no, I need to be independent. Please stop. I need you to stop trying to baby me. And then it turns out his neighbor moved in next door, comes over to his house to greet her neighbors, and gets caught by the sister trying to be, doting, and she immediately surrenders. And it's so dumb. All of these characters are fine. I enjoy them. There's also a gal that showed up who also eventually finds out that she's not all that scary a teacher and decides to try to help. But also she's, weirdly athletic. She keeps breaking things without meaning to, kind of strong.
So she's a gal and a klutz.
Yes.
That suggests we might know who her parents are from an earlier show we talked about.
But also, in the opening, I guess, there's a character who looks like she has the hair over one eye, like Satsuki from Wataru's blank is about to collapse. And
Gotcha.
her role is the Koa instead of the Yowayowa. She is supposed to be the scary one. I'm going to have to watch the show at least that long to find out what the fuck her deal is, because I think she's the nurse and she's a menace. All of these characters are so dumb. I'm having a good time with it, but also, if the whole power dynamic of extremely stupid boy and extremely, she's so wimpy. She's just utter fail girl teacher that puts you off. I can't blame you.
Stop tempting me to watch the show.
I am just talking.
I know, but if it wasn't about a teacher-student thing,
Mm-hmm. The thing is, it is just because of how little confidence she has, she doesn't really apply any of that power dynamic as a teacher and is trying to be friendly, so it kind of doesn't hit that problematic spot for me.
Yeah.
And she's only 5 years older than him, which she gets leveraged by the sister, which is why I brought the sister up. Anyway, let's move on to Ichijomeman Kitsugarashi, which is main character is from out in the country, wants to go to a Tokyo school. There's a fancy rich girl school run by, I forget the name of the family, but it's a conglomerate, the Amamiya conglomerate. She signs up because there's a grant to cover costs for the dorm and stuff. And she gets there, and one of the Amamiya family is running a manga cafe that is where she will be living and working. Because the Amamiya girl has to run the cafe as a trial to make sure she's ready to take over more of the business in the future. B, she thinks that the main character, Morita Meko, is a mangaka by the same name. And it's cursed. She is just every single fucking time she tried to go yeah, it's so great to have a rookie, an up-and-coming mangaka in our manga cafe, and she's please stop. But yeah, it's silly. There's shenanigans, a bunch of cute girls doing stupid stuff. The entire manga cafe is stacked with the personal collection of Rie, the Amamiya girl, and a lot of it is Yuri. Shocker. I took some screenshots, and Eve and I were able to browse the listing.
You went through that with a fine-tooth comb. It was kind of awe-inspiring to watch.
Now it's time for your turn.
But my turn, yes. Snowball Earth. So the first episode of this was basically the plot of Gunbuster, but about a boy, and with an element of like Shinji Ikari in it. And then the second episode was this boy has returned to Earth, and Earth is a wasteland, and he's trying to survive. He kills a kaiju with a backhoe. Like not like a big one, but like a mini digger. By like he's trying to fight the kaiju with this thing, and the kaiju bites off the scoop, leaving a jagged spike, and he kills the kaiju with the spike.
Jesus.
But he ends up inside the kaiju's mouth, and then when the actual human survivors in the Snowball Earth come to find the corpse of the kaiju, they arrive just as he is like heaving up one little part of its jaw to escape, and he's just drenched in kaiju blood.
Mm-hmm.
So like half of it is this kind of Shinji Ikari / boy who was kind of too enfolded in the mecha industrial complex to ever have a chance to have normal boy socialization and make friends and stuff. And like a comedy about how bad he is at making friends. And then half of it is a boy and his robot. You know, the robot dies at the end of the first episode, and it's very sad and tragic. And then an episode and a half later, the robot is back, which really, put the show on quite ironic thin ice with me. Mm-hmm. Because I'd quite like the story of him just like trying to live with and deal with these people without his robot and stuff. And like dealing with grief and so on. Bringing the robot back, nah. And, although I like mecha stuff, this is very much in the Super Robo tradition. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not well enough versed in most of the foundational texts for that yet. So the oscillation between these two modes is not really working for me. Then there is Agents of the Four Seasons, which I was curious about the pitch, which is basically like spring. The seasons have to be like triggered by people who are the agents of the four seasons. And there's like one assigned agent of each season, and Spring has been kidnapped and hasn't done Spring for 10 years. I thought, that sounds interesting. It's surprisingly dark. It's emotionally quite ambitious. The characters have been through a real rough fucking time. They are part of an agency that has completely lost their trust. The two main characters, Hinagiku and Sakura, have a very, very deep emotional bond between women, which often reads as gay. Mm-hmm. But I truly can't tell. Different things in the show seem to suggest different ways on this. I truly can't tell if it's just that Spring hasn't happened for 10 years, or that because Spring hasn't happened, neither has Summer or Autumn. Mm. The last couple of episodes we've been with the Agent of Summer, who is about the same age as Hinagiku, the protagonist and the Agent of Winter, talks as if she's been summoning Summer every year. But lots of other things suggest that there hasn't been any season other than Winter for 10 years, so I don't know. Mm. There is Ghost Concert Missing Songs, which I'm really enjoying, actually. This story about a world where music is illegal and everybody has to use AI-generated music instead. It's very clear that this is a bad thing. But the bizarre part about this one is that it is also, like Petals of Reincarnation, fate. Because what happens in the first episode is that, I think it's Sarah, ends up getting possessed by Cleopatra and Julius Caesar and Mark Antony.
The whole... Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Because the possession is not a hostile possession in this case. Like, they start out hostile, but when they get inside her, they just kind of hang out, and they want her to help them find Caesar and Cleopatra's son, Caesarion. Meanwhile, the villains want them to come back and rejoin them. Villains are, in that one, they are again established historical figures. It's wild. When she goes into battle, she summons the power of Cleopatra and Caesar and Mark Antony.
Good grief.
And looks great doing it. And I think she's going to be like collecting... She's using the power of musical theatre to collect ghosts of famous people from history.
Okay.
Quick note on I Want to End This Love Game, which only started this week, so we've only seen the one episode of. Absolutely living up to its promise so far. These two are fucking useless in the funniest possible ways. kudos to the girl. It seems like she's really been trying, and the boy is very dense.
Mm-hmm.
But although she is not dense, the girl is a glass cannon in ways that are really fun. This has one of the best Cabadons in the season of anime so far. It's real good. Now, I want to run through very quickly some other shows that we've tried, some of which we're sticking with. So these are a group of shows. I classified them as like intoxicatingly absurd because all of them feel like in order to talk about them at all, you would have to say so much and it would take so much time. If you just want to feel punch drunk from absurdity. Killed Again, Mr. Detective, Always a Catch, Marriage Toxin, Kill Blue, all so far absolutely the biggest, noisiest, silliest versions of themselves.
All of them are available on Crunchyroll, so if any of the synopses appeal to you, give them a shot. They're pretty good. Shout
out to Marriage Toxin for having one of the coolest, like, gender fluid characters that I can remember seeing. That character is just a delight to watch all the time. And then some shows that we've dropped, or at least one of us has
in part, or...
So I grouped these as shows where we watched an episode, we agreed this looks really good. Like, it looks like it's a really well-executed production of the thing it's a production of. But it's not necessarily for us, or one of us wasn't particularly interested. So Akane-banashi looks like it's going to absolutely live up to the reputation of the manga. Demons of the Shadow Realm, which is the new work by the Full Metal Alchemist mangaka, which does show in a couple of places. There's a girl in it who really does look like the end of Edward Elric's transition timeline.
Yeah, and meanwhile, his sister looks like Greed got R63'd, so, which is not a complaint.
No, it's good. You're going to keep watching that, or you're at least going to watch some more of it. I thought it was interesting as a start point. I just don't have space for another one like that.
You're watching 2 Fate shows in its place, so...
Yes. For now. I watched the first episode of Rooster Fighter, which, like, it's just a classic shonen show, but what if the protagonist was a chicken and everything else was regular shonen stuff? I will say I was not expecting to see that many scenes of chicken sex in the first episode, and also it did end with the cockerel getting cucked.
Of course.
He goes back to his bit on the side and she's fucking another chicken. Incredible animation of this chicken fighting kaiju, but that's all there is to it. We watched the first episode of Liar Game, which turned out to be more serious in tone than we wanted, I think.
I think I expected that level of seriousness in tone. I don't think I was expecting to be as hostile and cynical to the idea of being an honest person as it was.
Yes. It felt like it was on the side of the liars, maybe. Although there was this girl gets cheated by someone that she'd trusted, and she goes to confront him, and he has a monologue about how he kind of doesn't believe in social norms around behavior and maintaining trust and so on. And there was some really powerful language in that I think captures some of the attitudes of people in power who clearly do not give a shit. It's just bleak to watch, so we've dropped it. And then Witch Hat Atelier looks gorgeous. Looks like it's going to be very good at being what it is. Just, it didn't make a case to me that I would want to stick with it. But you're going to keep watching, right?
I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I didn't... You apparently had an issue with the mother who gets fridged, for lack of a better container, in the first at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
In the inciting incident.
Well, the mother is very, very down on this girl pursuing her dreams, and is very blunt about it in ways that rub me the wrong way.
I think there is a distinct difference here, because her being down on her chasing her dreams is her understanding of the world is that nobody who is born without magic can learn magic. She is trying to let her daughter down gently before that becomes something that she gets hung up on, which she does anyway, and it turns out that entire understanding of the world is a lie, which is not the mom's problem.
That's not the mom's problem, but also the way she talks to this girl when she's like 7 or 8 felt unkind to me.
I think we'll disagree on that.
That wasn't the sole reason that I decided I didn't want to watch the show.
The thing is, like, I know that we both have issues with mother characters, and that added to the pile probably, but I didn't get that read at all, so I'm just like, this seems fine.
We do have to briefly mention Ingoku Danchi, which we watched an episode of, and no.
I did warn you a bit.
You did warn me, and your warnings were right. We're not watching that. Like, even if this is your kink, I can't help but feeling you could do better than watching this show to satisfy the kink. Anyway, so we're watching That Right is a project of Slimebook Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics is by Val, and this episode is edited by Numinous. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebook.bsco.social, YouTube at youtube.com/slimebookproductions, Patreon at patreon.com/slimebookproductions. Download all episodes from Libsyn at slimebook.pro, and join our Discord via the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.